Sleeping Dogs and Resident Evil remastered editions that are now coming to Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, I would like to ask a question. This practice has been done already. It has been done with The Last of Us. Granted, The Last of Us is an excellent game. Did it need to come out on PlayStation 4? Hell no, it did not.
With the library that they have, yes, it did. Just kidding. Keep going.
Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, no, save that. The other people in the comments, they're going to have something to say about that, too. Grand Theft Auto 5, another game that just came out last year, and, of course, now it's on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One later this year. Did that need to come back out again? No, it did not. But I guess we are biased because, as I have already admitted on this show several times, I'm getting both games. I already got Last of Us. I will be getting Grand Theft Auto 5 again. But now we're going on to older games such as Resident Evil and Sleeping Dogs. So I want to ask you guys, what is up with all these remasters? Is this laziness on the developer's behalf? I think you can say it is for Capcom. Maybe not so much for Square Enix because they already did this with Tomb Raider earlier this year. But I want to ask you guys, what do you think is up with all these remasters? Do you think this is going to continue going on? And how do you guys feel about that? So I know Tom had a lot to say. I'm going to let you go first, Tom.
I think it's going to be a case it's going to go on forever and ever and ever. We're going to get to a point when the next-gen consoles come out, and we'll get remastered versions of Rise and remastered versions of Watch Dogs and any other crap game that's come out in the past year that no one really cares about. It's going to be a case of every time a HD remake of something will come out, there is no need to have a HD remake of Sleeping Dogs. It was a mediocre game. Very average.
Ouch.
I don't know. I mean, that comes off a little.
Wait, which game?
Sleeping Dogs. You said Sleeping Dogs is mediocre.
Okay.
I think though, like, what drives Sleeping. Oh.
No, you got it.
I was gonna say what drives Sleeping Dogs is, and I saw the GIF comparisons 100 times over. Is Sleeping Dogs on PC looked fantastic, and I think console gamers want to taste that.
I like to say, I know you got. I don't mean to cut you off. I know you want to say something, Charles. I got to say this real fast. I have to be honest. Sleeping Dogs, 20 times better than Watch Dogs. I will say that. Yes, I have to say that. You already know.
That is a fact.
Yes. But no, continue.
All I was going to say is that on Gary's comment about it being mediocre, is that
Tom.
I think Tom said it was mediocre.
Yeah.
Well, F you, Tom. It was not mediocre. The game was actually really good. The ending was absolutely mediocre. But from what I understand, the DLC that kind of pays homage to a lot of martial arts films is really good, and I need to play through that.
I'm not going to buy a game just for DLC, just because the DLC is really good.
No, I was not saying that this warrants the game being re-released. Furthest thing from it. I'm tired of all the remakes. I think it's a very cheap money grab. I mean, first and foremost, that's exactly what it is. They don't have to create characters, create new stories, or even create new gameplay elements. They're recycling all of these elements and shining them up a little bit and selling them to an entire group of people whom they're really insulting their intelligence, but they keep buying it, so they're going to keep doing it.
It's one of those things that, there are games, and I'm not against the practice, because somebody, I forgot who said it, somebody significant said it recently in regards to HD releases. He said, they were supportive. It was one of the developers. Maybe they were with Naughty Dog, I can't remember. But somebody was talking about how they've kind of entered this transcendent state where they've reached a timeless classic like movies. So I'm not anti the practice of HD remakes because it gives people who never had a chance to... A friend of mine never had the chance to play Oddworld, and now he loved it. You got a chance, the new generation or the younger generation, there's all of these classics they've missed out on. And I think it's a little unfair to say, films can get re-released on new formats with new box art. I mean, hell, I think I've seen The Godfather re-released like on Blu-ray 6 times already. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, I fully agree with what you're saying because, like, I think for a classic like Final Fantasy X and then Kingdom Hearts, those are remasters that make sense. But the
Because
thing
there's
is,
time. There's been time between when they released and now.
exactly, it's been
There's
like
two
over 10
consoles
years or
between them.
whatever.
Yeah.
But like, with a lot of these things like Sleeping Dogs, The Last of Us, and all this stuff that Injustice, I think they did as well, and Resident Evil. Well, Resident Evil is old too, but I still don't feel like it makes sense because who wants to play that now? But anyway, going back to my point, I feel like it's lazy on developers' behalf, and I feel like they're kind of filling a void because there's not much else out, and they want to make money, of course, and we have to wait for the huge blockbusters that they're working on at the moment. So I think they see this as a lazy way to get some cash, along the way. And Sleeping Dogs, it was a great game. I'm not knocking the game at
Mediocre
all.
game.
No, it was good.
No.
I really enjoyed it. And
Tom, you're too technical. You won't get far.
may I add as well that I already played the definitive edition because I played it on PC at full spec. So I've already played this definitive so-called edition. So
Smug plug.
Are you sure it just wasn't a modded GTA though? You always got to be careful with those PC mods.
well, it isn't almost every game a modded GTA, every open world game.
Every open world third person cop drama maybe.
That's an insult to every game that is made. You say it's like a GTA mod. It's terrible.
Watch Dogs was GTA with the sliders down.
Watch Dogs, Watch Dogs, it doesn't even deserve to be in the same class as GTA. But yeah, that's another topic.
I don't know. It's one of those situations where I can see point. Now, hell, Resident Evil 4 has been released like 3 dozen times. It's gotten crazy, but I mean, I never played the original Resident Evil or the remake. I've never really played a Resident Evil game to begin with, and I think it'd be great to start at the first one. The majority of say what?
There's a lot of games that you probably haven't played, and you need to go back and get those old consoles if you want to play it. Like Resident Evil got its definitive remaster, which was awesome to see the gap between the technology, but it's not worth it this time. It's not worth it at all. Like
my issue with that is I understand people might still want to play Resident Evil or still haven't played that first Resident Evil and might want to play it. I understand that, but it just doesn't make, from Capcom specifically, it just doesn't make sense. Like, because they've got a lot of other games that people want to see, before this, and plus they just released Ultra Street Fighter, whatever it's called, on last gen, which we've already seen two or three other versions of that same game out on those consoles. So why didn't they just release that on next gen? Because I'm sure that would sell on next gen, and I'm pretty sure they will do it too. I'm pretty sure down the line we're going to see Ultra released on next gen consoles.
The problem.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the problem with determining worth is you got to step back because worth is one of those very subjective terms. Now, financially, it might be worth it because they might put very little money into it, and in turn get a lot of young people who've never played the original Resident Evil. I see it as you look at Capcom, you look at how much vitriol has been directed towards Resident Evil 6 and to a lesser extent Resident Evil 5, and you think, okay, well, obviously they're working on a new Resident Evil. They've got one in the oven. What better way to remind people that this series is quality by releasing the first one? By like the Halo anniversary of the group. Go ahead.
Oh no, I would like to offer a response to that. Now, if that was the intent, that's fine, but they need to make every single Resident Evil game up to the last game and release that as a collection, if they're going to do that.
Well, we got, like, Resident Evil 6, I think there was an edition that really, like, it included, like, the first 5, if I recall, like one of those super, editions. You've got this console that is not backwards compatible. Neither of them are, Xbox One or PS4. So I understand relying on these older games, and I think Remake was a GameCube exclusive, so I understand relying on these older games, which were exclusives, and what better way to start kind of the retelling by beginning back at the first one. And yeah, like The Last of Us was a scenario where you had what 50% of PS4 guys owned 360s, so the market wasn't there, and people were still talking about The Last of Us, how it's incredible and great, and yeah, the 360 guys needed to check it out. The one I'm behind is Metro. I think Metro kind of suffered originally from a publisher crumbling apart financially in the form of THQ, and the first one was niche. The first one was a niche game, so I'm glad that Deep Silver can release Metro 1 and 2, and I hope it's successful, because if you want to play a fantastic atmospherical shooter, and this isn't a plug, I really think Metro's that great. I'm glad it gets a second chance at life.
Well, with Metro, I'm glad to say that I already own the definitive editions of those two.
Oh my goodness, another smug
Right, well,
plug.
I mean, they went back and they rebuilt Metro 1 in the Metro Last Light engine, so we'll see.
But with the Resident Evil thing, I would have respected it more if they, if they said, okay, we're remastering Resident Evil 1 to 3 or something, for next gen. Then I would have respected it slightly more. But it's just the first game, and I kind of feel like if people actually buy that, remaster of the first game, that they'll release the others later, so it means more money for them. So
wait.
I see it as like they're trying to milk, this whole remaster thing.
No, you're right. But wait, there's one very important element that none of y'all forgot to mention. This is going to be a full price game. That also is a crime in and
That's
of itself.
unacceptable.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, Gary says, he'd be more willing to accept it if they did 1 through 3. Screw that crap too. Like, it's not okay. This whole culture is not okay, especially with the time. Like, if you go way back, something that was like freaking 2 pixels and it's getting remade now. Okay, I am down for that. But something that has already been brought into the new age. If, like, your example of, people are playing 5 and 6 and they may want to experience 1. Either A, go buy 1, 2, watch YouTube video gameplay of someone playing 1, or 3, they can put it for free with 7 or something. Like the Kingdom Hearts games have it where the compilation has cutscenes from the other ones, or major cutscenes from one of the games. That.
I'm not defending Capcom, because they're just terrible.
Well, Capcom's going to rob you regardless.
But in terms of the practice itself, there are much older games, and yeah, I mean, like, I didn't own a PS2. I still have not played the majority of those collections, but getting Sly, getting Jack, getting Ratchet, getting God of War PSP, getting Ico, a couple others maybe. It was nice to have the option to go back and play those games. Now,
you always have the option though. Like there's Second and Charles, there's GameStop, which I don't support GameStop, but whatever.
Right. If your GameStop is still selling a PS1 game,
I don't know if they have it online or Amazon or something like that. But here's the thing. All right, so Rich, if it is a full price game, as in $60, I could buy the old console and the old game cheaper than that.
But I think though, I mean, you're saying, but I think there's also a bigger issue. You got to come to the look at that. Eventually, these old consoles aren't going to work anymore. Everything has an expiration date. Be that electronics, be that organics.
Resident Evil's expiration date was like 10 years ago. Why is that being remastered?
For example, apparently there's a problem with OG Xboxes. Like ones produced from I think 01, 04. They have their time capsulator is apparently exploding and rotting the motherboard. You hear stories that people out there can no longer use their original Xboxes. That means no Crimson Skies. Charles, that means no Advent Rising.
I'm not replaying those games. I experienced them when they were in their heyday. You know what? And if someone announced to me, like, we're going to remake Crimson Skies, I'd call them an idiot too. Why not make a sequel? Why not spend the money to make a new title? Stop wasting my money and time.
But the difference is though, I can take $2 million and I can bump up some res and go back in and give you the code to play it on your Xbox One.
You're arguing from like Austin. You're okay. I'm assuming that you are not in the industry currently, as in working for Capcom. You are arguing for their sake.
I'm not a Capcom shill. No.
Okay, you are arguing for their sake. They are making money off of insulting our intelligence. Like yes, it's cheap for them to remake it, but that doesn't make it right.
Well, I'm not necessarily defending Capcom or Resident Evil by extension. When I think about ones that have done it right, I look at your Halo Anniversary. It's $40, and they went back in and they added all new character models. I'm defending your Oddworld new and tasty.
And how old is that though?
I mean,
how old is the original Oddworld?
I mean, oh wow, like 98, 96. I mean,
exactly. That makes sense to me. But the
first Resident Evil though, that's been like what?
No. It's already been remade once. You're forgetting that. If this was, if we were just talking about,
when did that Launchbox edition come out? Hold on.
Yeah, if we were just talking about the very first Resident Evil, that and in this fictional Marvel universe of ours, it hadn't been remade yet, then I'd be somewhat okay with it, because okay, I want Final Fantasy VII, I want that remake. The original Resident Evil.
No, actually,
I like that remake, but it's already been done. Like it's been remastered and put on a new graphics engine and gameplay elements added to it, and they're not. And another thing is, there was a big difference from the first one to that remake. They're not going to add anything to this new one. It's just going to look better. And these people are going to pay $60.
Came out in 2002. And yeah, I think $60 is a little crazy, but I mean, nobody sells GameCubes anymore. You're hard pressed to find GameCube games, and the Wii U's not backwards compatible. I don't know, like I can't defend it being $60 because no, that doesn't make sense to me. But
we're going to get to a point where we're going to be accepting of all of these old games being brought to new consoles and just embrace that.
I'll tell you this right here. I'd drop $60 for an Uncharted collection.
Why? Why would you do that? It just happened.
Currently on PS3-less. I love the notion of all of them bundled together. I've seen Uncharted. Their portfolios online from the developers. The 1080 specs. Now I tell you this. I tell you this. If they were to put, I can't speak to 60 frames, but if they were to put Uncharted 3 in 1080p, it would be the best looking. Like it would top The Last of Us 2 times over.
Yo, let me say something, right? Because I'm with Austin here. If they do that, I'm buying it day one. I don't even care.
Both! I hate you both. Come on, are you serious? You want to buy Uncharted 1, 2, and 3? I love those games so much, but I will let them die. It is time for 4. Give me 4. And then you can't even use the whole console can't be purchased excuse for this. Gary has a PS3.
I'm currently, like, my cat broke mine.
I would buy it just for the convenience of not having to start the PS3. So. You
would buy it so you wouldn't have to push a button?
Yeah, but there's only certain games I would do that for. You know, I wouldn't do it for everything. Just, Uncharted, Last of Us.
So you know what? Let's try a different dynamic here. So Tom, are you getting the Halo Anniversary Edition?
Probably not. I don't mind Halo, but probably not. No.
Okay. That's another one that makes sense, though. I think the Halo one.
Like, I want the Xbox One. I'm getting the Halo Anniversary Edition. I want to play Halo 2. Is
it full price? Is it $60? Of course, it's $60.
Yeah, but it's all 4 games though.
Doesn't justify.
On one bit.
I think that one makes sense, though. The Halo one.
Now, I'll say this: the fact that they put the Forge engine in the other games, that takes resources. But why is this happening? We are allowing this to happen, and we should not allow it to happen because, like, the excitement for freaking Master Chief Collection.
Well,
And everybody, they see this, and they're like, oh, we can do a freaking Resident Evil 1 collection.
Well, I mean, like, in the case of the Master Chief Collection, let's see what you're getting. You're getting two that have been, you're getting Halo 1 Anniversary, which came out in 11. You're getting Halo 2 Anniversary, which is coming out this year. That's the only way to get it. You're getting 3 and 4 in 1080p 60 frames. You're getting 8, I think, Halo 2 maps. In all, like, they went back and, you know, I think they showed a couple or 1 or 2 at E3. Yes? How many maps?
No, you're right. They remastered a lot of stuff. That's what I was saying. That second game. Yeah.
And you're getting, I mean, hell, let's be honest. You're getting the Halo 5 beta. I'm pretty sure a lot of people paid $60 for the Halo 3 beta, a.k.a. Crackdown. So I think
they definitely did.
Yeah.
But
it's for the fans, though, Charles. I mean, at the end of the day, it's for the fans. Nobody, you know, someone who is...
It is for their pocket. It is for their pocket. It is not for the fans. It's not for the fans at all. It's for their...
I don't know. I think if it was for their pocket, I wouldn't be getting anything.
And then think about, like, all right, these are big companies, like Capcom and everything, like hundreds of employees. But to remaster Resident Evil 1, it probably took, like, 3 people to do that.
You're going to be mad when that Mass Effect remaster comes out.
Yeah, I'm going to be mad. Why would you do that?
That's one
and the only way I would buy Mass Effect 3 again is if it were a different freaking game.
You know, Charles, we're going to disagree on my closing comments when we get there.
No, we already have. You don't even remember. We did an After Dark debate about Mass Effect 3, and I still stand by my words. But regardless, this culture has to end. Play some new indie games you never played before that are not going to be $60 of the same thing you played 10 years ago. Invest in, get a PC, because that's what you really want. That's what you want at this point. Because if Uncharted had come out on freaking PC, you could just buy a graphics card to make the graphics look better instead of buying a remastered version to go on your next console.
Though, as you point out, though, that's like an exclusive. Until we get this service, a la PlayStation now, that works and doesn't charge me $1 per the hour. Come on now. Until we get a service that works, you're gonna have, like, I think it's completely unfair to say, okay, we can release 5 or 10 different Blu-ray versions of Jurassic Park, and I love Jurassic Park, so this is hard to say, but I think it's unfair that we can release 5 to 10 different Blu-ray versions of Jurassic Park, a movie that is 20 years old. I mean, fantastic movie, and you know, I just think it's a shame that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to play a Jade Empire.
But do you realize that other than going from like the DVD to the Blu-ray transition makes sense for most movies, especially older things, because it is now the current standard. But buying like the same thing, buying the same Blu-ray with additional things, I think that's dumb too. I mean, you're preaching to the wrong guy. You're talking to the guy that won't even buy a deluxe CD. So like that argument doesn't penetrate you.
Tell me what these CD things are, Charles. I need to know.
It's just I think it's terrible, man. It's a terrible culture. And I feel like the Joker is like they took backwards compatibility away from the consoles and everyone lost their minds.
Yep.
That's all it is. The backwards compatibility went away and people were just like, oh, remastered? Have my money.
Well,
no, because, I mean, this happened last gen and there were more versions last gen and you still had the ability to be backwards.
Yeah, are you going to support PlayStation now?
With last gen, a lot of them came towards the end of the life cycle. I mean, there was God of War, and you know, I was glad for that one because I never played it on PS2. But there really, I mean, and also there was a lot of other games, like original games, being made at the same time too. So you know, it wasn't just remasters coming out.
Well, this really feeds into like your point earlier. We just don't have a lot of this stuff in these first 2 years, or this first full year. So obviously, developers who kind of missed out, you know, they're double downing. That's why we're getting Rise on PC. They couldn't make their money on consoles. They're taking it to PC.
Crying Shame Tech, or Crytek, as most of you know, they needed to do something to make some money at this point. They're hurting pretty bad.
Well, I think, you know, like 4A games of Metro fame. You know, then nobody played their games and it was great, and I think it's a shame. I'm glad it's. I will drop $50 down on 2 great games. I think it deserves it. I think though at the end of the day, yeah, I can't defend the whole Capcom with the. Is it going to be a retail release or digital?
Rip-off. Is that a classification?
I don't know if I can go to the store and say, hey, I need to buy this rip-off. Where can I find it?
Can't. That's not going to work.
You can just go to GameStop and they'll sell it to you.
Yeah, every rip off by default. The pricing, everything. Yeah, there you go.
Crooks.
There's a classification system of what can be considered a HD remake. If a game is any less than rank rating of 8 out of 10, it does not deserve a remake.
Are you trying to take shots at Sleeping Dogs again? You're gonna have to let that go.
Sleeping Dogs does not need a remake.
I agree, it doesn't need a remake, but it's still a good game.
Hold on. Like, I never played Sleeping Dogs.
You need to
don't play Sleeping Dogs. You'll be disappointed.
Don't buy the remake. Don't buy the remake. Like, go play your old console.
It's different this time. You know, why we're getting, I think, all these HD remakes. It's different this time because not only did last gen go 8 years as opposed to the usual 5, in the last 2 years, really 12 and 13, really kind of fed over a little bit by 11, there was a peppering of releases, non-stop left and right. And yeah, a lot of people didn't play Sleeping Dogs. A lot of people didn't play Tomb Raider. That's why we got that like very early on. So yeah, I think a lot of the reasons being we're getting these kind of modern quote masters is the fact that there was just so much saturation of the market in these last 2 years that we had never had. It's like everybody was trying to get everything off the sinking ship before it goes. And the stragglers, AC Rogue and Bioshock or Borderlands the free sequel, they're just hanging out.
I mean, any games that aren't good enough. I mean, you can find most of them on the PlayStation Store anyway. All the old a lot of the old PS1 games, the classic games, you can find them on there. They don't need HD remakes. You can probably put Resident Evil on there and get away with it. So
you can put Resident Evil on freaking PlayStation now.
Yeah, be done with it. It'd be fine. You don't need to have an extra physical copy of Resident Evil. No one needs that. No one needs an actual original copy of Resident Evil to that matter.
I mean, that also depends though, like, because I tried to run PlayStation Now and it was terrible, sir. Like, it was juddery. But that's a lot on my IP service and not necessarily on the PlayStation Now service itself. I think, like I reiterate, it's for fans who want it to be there. If they, I don't think they're going to market it like it's the only thing on the console. Capcom might, because they are sneaky.
Yeah. Just to summarize in general, most games don't need a HD remake. I did a bit of research beforehand, had a look at a list of all HD re-releases over the last few years for PlayStation. Do you remember a game called Cell Damage at all?
Yes.
That got a HD remake. Why? Why? Why did that get a HD remake? It got released a few months ago.
It's a joke, man. They are insulting us. It's a joke.
Well, Assassin's Creed Rogue is next, so stay tuned. Yeah, they're not gonna make that from scratch for next gen. No.
Give it a week left its release, you'll see like a HD remake of Sunset Overdrive. So
I hope not, but yeah, you could be right about that. Cause I'm looking.
Though, truth be told, playing AC4, even if it was a game made for the 360 PS3 kind of ported up, that's a gorgeous game. If Rogue can visually bring what AC4 brought to the table, I'd be fine.
Well, to be determined.